Alright everybody, what's going on? It's Thundershot, and what you're going to be seeing in the background today is going to be gameplay from the Dragon Ball Xenoverse pre-alpha network test that was happening. It was kind of like an alpha, testing, but it's closed now, so there's that. But what we're talking about today is going to be the Dragon Ball Z New Movie 2015. There's been some big news that dropped on this yesterday. I tried to get a video uploaded about it, but YouTube was being really weird and wouldn't ever process any of my videos, so it was kind of rough. But hopefully I can bring it to you today if YouTube cooperates with me, and let's talk about it. So first things first, we now have what is an official, unofficial release date. I'll talk more about that later, and I only call it unofficial, and I'll get to why I call it unofficial later. And also a possibility of up to a 2-hour movie. And again, I say possibility because alright, I'll just start from the beginning. A website by the name of Cinema City Japan recently reported that the new Dragon Ball 2015 movie will be released on April 25th, 2015. And like I said, I'll talk about that in a second. And the website also indicates that the runtime of the film will be 120 minutes long. Now, you can pencil it in for April 25th, you can pencil it in for 120 minutes, but to talk about the time segment first, 120 minutes is a very, very round number. So first of all, we can assume it's going to be somewhere around 120 minutes as opposed to being exactly 120 minutes long. And aside from that, it's possible that they only penciled in 120 minutes because they wanted to have at least up to that time to work with. Not necessarily that they're going to utilize all of it. However, I am excited for it, and if we do manage to get 120 minutes, that I believe that'll have to be the longest Dragon Ball Z movie ever made, which would be really cool. I've got another interview I want to go back to here in a second, but first let's talk about this. Let's talk about the release date. The release date is April 25th. Now, I got this article. I'm reading it from two different locations right now, both of which will be in the link to the description down below. But the first article I got is from Dragon Ball Insider.com. Again, the link to that will be down below. Also, I'm reading on it from Saiyan Island, and Saiyan Island has something a little iffy about how exactly the release date is going to work. So I'm going to read what they have here. It said, that's talking about the, we see potentially in the title. Toei Animation announced a few months ago, and I've done videos on these in the past. In all the posters, the release date said that it was going to be the release date in the 2015 Dragon Ball Z movie trailer, said that Goku would be engaging in his next battle during Golden Week 2015. Now, for those of you who don't know, Golden Week is a special week in Japan that usually takes place in the last week of April and continues to the first week of May. To continue reading the article, they say, we would feel remiss if we didn't mention that last week of April in next year, so the Golden Week for Japan coming up, begins on Sunday, April 26, 2015, or April 27th, since Monday is often marked as the beginning of the week in Japan. And it might be a technicality that they say that it's on the 25th, considering that the 25th isn't officially Golden Week. However, to contradict that, typically movies in Japan are released on Saturdays. So they probably said Golden Week, April 25th is probably the day it's going to be, even though they said Golden Week and it's not technically Golden Week, but it is something to keep in mind. Perhaps they back the release date up to Monday, the beginning of the week, or something like that. But as of right now, it's looking like it's going to be April 25th. And as of right now, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not like anyone's taken off their calendar right now, because stuff's going to change, stuff can happen, you know what I mean? But as of right now, April 25th, at least within a couple days of April 25th is my guess for the release date. And that one's probably going to stay official, but it was worth pointing out that possibly not. And again, 120-minute runtime, up to 2 hours, that could be insane. But to get you guys a little bit more hype for this movie, I'm going to go back. There's an interview that I have actually already covered on this channel in the past, but I would like to come back to again. It's an interview that was conducted with Akira Toriyama when they first kind of announced this movie, and it's just some of his words, and then I'll kind of give my 2 cents in on them, but let's go ahead and get into this real quick. Okay, so right here, Akira Toriyama says, as with the last movie, I thought up the new story for the Dragon Ball theatrical movie as though it were a continuation of the manga when it was in serialization. Just to clarify, that means that when he wrote Battle of the Gods to him is a legitimate continuation of the manga. Now, whether you accept it as manga canon or anime canon or what have you, I think you almost have to accept it as anime canon. But manga canon or not, Akira Toriyama, to the creator of the show, Battle of Gods is a direct continuation of Dragon Ball Z. Then he goes on to say, and this movie will be a continuation of Battle of the Gods being a continuation of Dragon Ball Z, just to clarify. But anyways, to continue on, he says, just the fact that I don't have to draw anything means I can obsess completely over the smallest bits of dialogue. Well, the truth is that I wasn't planning on going that far, since it's pretty exhausting at my age, but I got a little carried away. So Akira Toriyama says he went over the top, which I actually take as a very good sign. And once again, I've covered this interview in the past, so if any of this sounds familiar, this is an interview that's been out there for a while, but I am going over it again now with this new information to kind of rehype everyone a little bit. He goes on to say, this time, of course, will be a continuation of the previous Battle of Gods movie, but I've deliberately increased the amount of action scenes by a good deal. With regards to the contents, they told me keep it a secret, like they're all high and mighty, so I can't touch on it just yet, but it should be super duper interesting. So he says right here that he has upped the action scenes a lot. There's going to be a whole lot more fighting in this than there was in Battle of Gods, which Battle of Gods could have used a bit more fighting scenes, I suppose. It also could have used more time, which is what this movie is offering us with a 2-hour premiere instead of a 90-minute one. That would be 2 hours would be awesome. I can't get over that. Anyways, to point out on a side note, on a different interview, Akira Toriyama has also said that this new movie is going to be utterly funny. So this movie, according to Akira Toriyama, is going to have way more action scenes, possibly be longer, and be funnier. Battle of Gods was funny. I didn't see how funny it was till I saw it in English. The Japanese subtitles didn't quite get to me like the English translation is, but I have it on Blu-ray now, and it's still funny. But Battle of Gods was funny. Battle of Gods kept me content with action scenes, and there's going to be more of that in this next movie, so I am nothing but excited right now. He keeps moving on to say, the fact that I'd say that when I'm not big on the flashy action stuff means that there is no doubt about it. Even my very first editor, Tiroshima, hope I'm saying that correct, who rarely ever praises me, looked at the script and said, this is good. Absolutely no doubt about it, although it won't be any good if I say that too loudly and people end up disappointed by it, but at the very least, I'm confident that the contents are something that the fans will be able to thoroughly enjoy. Right now, I'm drawing design illustrations for new characters, and such the movie's completion is still a ways out in the future, but please look forward to it. So that's an interview that's been out for a while, but I thought about reading it again, and he says, don't do what I'm doing, or don't do what I specifically am doing. I meaning Thundershot, I'm not speaking from Akira Toriyama's perspective. He says, don't get too hype about it because then it'll be a disappointment. If you think this is going to be the greatest movie you've ever seen in your entire life, then you can expect to be disappointed. Just like this is a gaming channel also, so I'll go back to people got really, really, really hyped about Titanfall being a really good game, or really, really, really hyped about Destiny being a really good game, and then they were met with disappointment, even though those games weren't bad. Those games are actually pretty decent to good games. It's just people thought they were going to be way, way better for some reason. Bottom line, don't look too highly on this. If you have low standards for this movie, you're almost guaranteed to be impressed. If you have extremely high standards, it's possible they won't meet what you're going for, I guess. But there's the interview. I've given you guys the information on the release date. I've given you guys information on the runtime possibly being up to 2 hours. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about any of that. Do you think this movie will hit 2 hours? We can go back to the storyline about Goku has to revive someone. That's an old question that could be dug up if you really feel like it. But do you think this movie's going to have 2-hour runtime? The date's probably going to be on April 25th for Japan. I don't know how long it'll be before we can see it in English subs. Hopefully not too terribly long. And then, of course, get our own English dub a year later, probably. So, for us English speakers, it's still quite a ways out, but it is something to think about. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here for more Dragon Ball Xenoverse, the future video game coming out of Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Z movie news, and anything Dragon Ball Z news related in general, because I cover that kind of stuff. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed today. I am Thundershot, and I'm out. Peace, guys.